Christmas is definitely the most wonderful time of the year, but it can also be one of the most stressful times of the year, especially if you've ever been frantically behind up till all hours of Christmas Eve night trying to wrap presents, or heaven forbid, find yourself unprepared and without a gift for someone. And there's just so much that happens this time of year that can make the season really challenging if you are not ahead of the game. So I want to share with you in this video so many helpful and practical tips to help you get ready for Christmas early. These are simple things you can do to stay on top of your Christmas planning and preparation. They are things that will really enable you to then sit back, enjoy the season, and really focus on the true reason for Christmas and time with your family when it actually comes. Big welcome if you are new. I'm Amber with Solutions for Simplicity, and this channel is all about how to do more and stress less. Every week, I share actionable tips on ways that you can better organize your life, increase your productivity, and really then focus on prioritizing who and what you love. Subscribe for weekly videos, but today, again, I have so many tips. These are going to be broken down into 5 overarching categories, and they are all things that I've really learned the hard way, but that have then made such a difference as I have striven to implement them even better year after year. I hope you find them helpful. Definitely give this video a big thumbs up if you do. Let's jump in. So the first thing we need to talk about is gifts, because we love to give gifts. We really, this is just something that kind of goes hand in hand with Christmas. And it's so important that before you even think about getting anything for anyone, you first set a budget. You are really, keeping in mind that experiences are better than material goods. And more than anything, that gift giving does not have to be complicated. There are so many ways to keep it simple. My first tip for you is something you can do all year long, but if you haven't already, start now and this will help you next year. Make sure and keep a box of gifts at home so that as you're out and about during the year, you pick up something, whether you know a specific person who would like it or not, you can then pile it away and go to that box or that place where you keep your presents and find ideas or actual gift items as Christmas approaches. Tip number 2 is to buy for fewer people. This is definitely a way to save yourself not just time and stress, but money, of course. So you could talk to your loved ones, figure out whether this might be an ideal season to do a gift exchange or draw names for certain people instead of everyone getting something for everyone else. And truly, as adults, maybe I'm unique in this respect, but I don't really want any more stuff. I'm so tired of clutter. I'm so tired of my kids having clutter. And so that's not to deny the incredible intentions and the true gifts that are given to us, but we don't need anything. So, really have that conversation and see how you could simplify gift giving. Tip number 3 is to stay on top of Amazon's deals all before Black Friday. And then especially in the lead up to Christmas, they have a whole bunch of specials that are amazing, and you can often find really great prices on things that you didn't even necessarily know existed. This is one of the ways that I love finding unique and perfect presents for people that are otherwise kind of hard to buy for. So, when you have a few minutes here and there, just kind of scroll through Amazon's deals of the day. I'm especially a big fan of the lightning deals, and that's a way to start stocking presents away anytime. Similarly, tip number 4 is to look ahead at the upcoming Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals. Every big store and so many online shops make their announcements public long before Black Friday ever even happens now. So you can definitely search through ads. You can really kind of figure out ahead of time what the best deals are going to be. And remember that a deal is only a deal if it's something that you're actually going to need and use or have someone to give it to. So if you can kind of think through what is out there, what's coming up, and then have specific people in mind, this is a way of going ahead and getting all that gift giving squared away sooner rather than later. Tip number 5 is that, of course, gift cards are always a big hit. So maybe one of the best ways to get Christmas all together early is to just keep it simple with gift cards instead of actual gifts, especially again for adults or for teachers, and we'll come back to that later. But remember that you can order an e-gift card anytime off almost any vendor's website. You can also order gift cards from Amazon, and Amazon will then directly ship the gift card to someone, so you don't even have to spend money on postage if you are, say, an Amazon Prime member. All right, let's talk about gift giving for kids, because this is where things can inevitably get complicated. Every family has their own traditions, their own ideas and beliefs about what gifts should be at Christmas time. Our personal view is that the biggest things should always come from us parents, not from Santa. And we also have, a real limit on what we think is an appropriate amount to spend on kids at this stage. But more than that, we just really try and make sure that the gifts that our kids are going to receive, at least from us or from Santa, are things that they're actually going to use, maybe things that they've asked for or thought about or wanted during the rest of the year. Of course, it's really fun to ask kids what they want and have them write out their wish list, right? On that note, the next thing that is really fun and helpful to do is, of course, to get stocking stuffers together long before Christmas Eve comes. If you follow the tradition of filling stockings, then my personal mode of operation is to really get practical items that are cheap, small, but very useful. We often fill our stockings with things that people need, like pens, paper, toiletries, bedding items or clothing items, non-perishable food. I think that the Dollar Tree is an amazing spot to find small little toys or other random gift ideas. There's also the great dollar spot at Target. And, my general advice is that stockings don't need to be a whole big elaborate thing on their own. Just find a few small little things, especially things that will fit inside a stocking, call it good, and save the bigger presents for gifts from you or from Santa. Number 8 is maybe something that's unique to me, but I love to have my kids make a holiday craft that we then give to the grandparents every year. And I'm so sad to confess that every year I end up being late on this because I haven't necessarily gotten it done in time to then ship it with enough time for it to arrive by Christmas. So especially this year, I have picked out the Christmas craft already. I always love scrolling through Pinterest and finding ideas of things that my kids can do and will enjoy, but that will also be a special finished product for the grandparents. So spend some time picking out that idea now, and then break up the craft, break up the work over a series of weekends so that it doesn't all have to be done in one chunk, and you make sure and plan ahead to get it done in time to ship it, and it will arrive on time. Okay, tip number 9 is one of the things that, as a busy mom, can definitely stress me out. That is the topic of teacher gifts. Our teachers are amazing, and I always want to do something really special for them, but trying to be creative, or again, in this particular case or my life situation, following Pinterest can just cause extra work. So I like to keep it really simple and I usually do gift cards for teachers. I try and keep a list of things that I imagine they would enjoy. And more than anything, regardless of how you approach teacher gifts, it's helpful to know well in advance how many teachers you need to buy for. Make sure that you are thinking of all the different teachers that might interact with your children on a regular basis. And I also love to have my kids make their own card to give to the teacher with handwritten notes and letters and an explanation of why they like that teacher. So this is something that you can have them do one card at a time, weeks in advance, so that you don't wait till the last minute, right before the last day of school before Christmas break. Number 10 has to do with good old shipping. And I've already alluded to the many, many years that my gifts have not arrived on time, but there are simple ways to avoid that problem. We know that the post office runs rather slowly, and especially during the holiday season, things take way longer than you would expect. So keep that in mind. It's also a really helpful idea to maybe just order gifts off Amazon, especially if you're a Prime member, because then it can be shipped much more quickly usually. And even if you're not a Prime member, a lot of things will ship for free if you spend over $25 or $35. You can pre-order shipping supplies from the post office, or you can drop in and use one of their self-serve kiosks to order postage labels or stamps. This is something really helpful so that you're not caught without a means to send something and you have to then wait in the long lines at the post office, which are terrible in general, but especially bad during Christmas time. I've also learned that, again, the cheapest rates are when you have time for things to arrive. So again, if you wait till the last minute, you're gonna feel that pressure to pay the more expensive rates to get rush delivery. Whereas if you send things at least a couple weeks in advance, it's okay to just send them ground or first class because you know it will still arrive in time. Final shipping tip is that if you weren't already aware, there are websites like Pirate Ship or Sendle that sometimes offer discounted rates. So I'll put those links in the description. Might be worth checking out. Tip number 11, and I guess as I'm reading through these, I realize they're not in the most coherent order, but you get the idea. Tip number 11 is that you could create an Amazon wish list, either for yourself or your kids or for your whole family, and then share that list with your family and friends so that they have a concrete idea of what you would enjoy, what you would like. And you could ask for this from them in return. So again, that you're giving people what they want instead of just random stuff. Final gift giving tip is to break up the process of wrapping everything because, oh my goodness, wrapping can take a lot of time. I would love to make my packages beautiful and elaborate, but I never have time for that. And, so what I usually end up doing is just the basic wrapping paper, not even bows necessarily. But I would highly recommend that you start wrapping a couple things a night now as you accrue them and you can set them aside. Or another alternative is to set aside a solid chunk of time, 2 or 3 hours, where you can just bang out all of your wrapping at once. Either way, make sure that you do account for this gift wrapping time in your schedule, in your plans, because it can be time consuming and you don't want to forget to set aside time for it. On this gift wrapping note, one thing that really isn't necessarily a tip and it doesn't help save you time, but something that I have personally implemented for years is that I love buying gift wrapping paper at the Dollar Tree. It's such a good deal. And then I have a different design of wrapping paper for every different person in the family so that then I can quickly identify who each gift is for without having to put on a gift tag or, write the name on it in magic marker or something like that. I also always get a special design wrapping paper for Santa presents and keep that hidden and out of sight so that my kids have no idea that it's from anyone other than Santa. Moving on, let's talk about decorations. This, like gifts, is something that you could go all out on. You could seriously spend as much time and money as you possibly could to decorate your home and your yard to the fullest. If you have time for that, wonderful, but I definitely don't. So here are some ways that I have simplified decorating for the holiday season. Tip number 13 is to go through everything that you have first. Before you get all caught up in what's being advertised in the stores or what you see in the checkout lane, make sure that you are, really aware of the decorations and the things that you already have. Get a few of those out and maybe not even everything, right? Just get a few new things out, but use what you already have. Tip number 14 is to remember that stores start getting their Christmas stuff out in October, like even before Halloween has come and gone. So it's really, really a great time to go and buy Christmas decorations and maybe get even a better deal at that time because of coupons and other discounts. Either way, the more that you think about decorating early, the better. Tip number 15 is, again, to keep it minimal. I would highly recommend that you skip complicated decorations or things that are really breakable, things with lots of little parts, especially if you have young kids like me. Like, it's just a headache, right? And so rather than stress over things getting broken or treasured heirlooms somehow, having bad things happen to them, I just would recommend that you try and skip anything that complicates your life. One of the things that I so often hear other moms get excited about but then regret doing is something like Elf on the Shelf, where it's so awesome in theory, right? Kids love it, but it also ends up just being one more thing that you have to do day after day. So if you can, and especially if you're in a season like me where you just need to cut some corners, then giving up things like Elf on the Shelf might just be the perfect solution. Number 16 is my most helpful decorating tip, in my opinion. That is that as wonderful as it is to have a big, tall, amazing, elaborate, and maybe even real Christmas tree, really just go small for this year if you need to, right? Or in order to make sure that you are keeping the season as stress-free as possible. You can get really nice little fake trees for as cheap as $20 at places like Michael's. And what I've ended up doing over the last couple of years is just letting my kids have at it. I buy cheap dollar ornaments from the dollar store, make sure that they are, they won't break, that they are shatterproof, that they are things without little pieces that my kids could put in their mouth. And then I also have the kids make a bunch of crafts, or we use things that they make at school. And no, it doesn't look like a Better Homes and Gardens Christmas tree when all is said and done, but it's really special both for me and for them. So to the extent that you too could simplify your Christmas tree process this year, I highly recommend doing that. Next category is Christmas cards. I don't believe I'm the only old-fashioned one that still really loves to send out cards, but I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Do you send out cards, or is it something that you've long done away with? If you are someone that cares about sending Christmas cards, then tip number 17 is to either find a previous family photo from earlier in the year that you can use ahead of time, or schedule your family photo session as early as possible. Photographers get very booked up this time of year. One of my personal favorite things to do is have an annual family photo session, but the longer you postpone that, then the longer it takes to get the proofs and the digital, pictures back to then put into your cards, and then making the cards, shipping the cards all takes time. So the sooner you can do that, the better. Tip number 18 is similar to ordering shipping supplies earlier, but that is that you can stock up on stamps anytime throughout the year, even in places like your local grocery store or Walmart. As you're checking out, ask them and they can give you books of stamps to purchase so that you're not waiting on stamps to mail your cards. Finally, tip number 19 is that an e-card can definitely suffice. No, you don't have to make big, fancy, elaborate photo cards or handwritten cards. In my opinion, something is better than nothing. So even if you're just sending e-cards, take a few minutes, do that, and you will have really touched somebody's life by letting them know you're thinking about them during the Christmas time. The next category is good old events and activities and opportunities, of which there are a million during the holiday season. And one of the things that of course gets so stressful is that we want to do it all. We want to be everywhere, see everyone, And that's just not possible, especially as weather can get bad or you're just consumed with other things. So these tips will help you in that area. Tip number 20 is to go ahead and make a list of all of the dates and times of these various events now and decide which ones you are or are not going to attend. Schedule them into your planner. You can look at local community lists. You can look at, of course, your church schedule and programs. Definitely be aware of your kids' school programs or activities, when school gets out for Christmas break. Like, all that stuff can just sneak up on us. So if you plan ahead for it, you will be much less stressed. Similarly, tip number 21 is to clarify ahead of time with family and friends what you're going to be doing and when. So if you're planning big get-togethers or if you want to see certain people, make sure that everybody is really clear, not just about when that's happening, but where, who's going to contribute what things, right? And again, what are you doing for gifts and for food? Have it all spelled out long in advance. Tip number 22 is to do all of your meal planning for the Christmas season long in advance. I can't recommend this enough, but it's so helpful to stock up on turkey or ham or roast, whatever it is that you love to serve at Thanksgiving time, because then you have it on hand. It's often at a really incredible sale price. And again, with various shortages and things going on in the world right now, you don't necessarily know what will be available or how much it will cost if you wait till later on. It's also really helpful to just add items to your Walmart grocery pickup list as you think of them. So keep this running tally, and I'm just a huge fan of Walmart grocery pickup. It has simplified my life so much. Not sponsored, although there is a code in the description if you want to check it out and get a slight discount on your first usage. So highly recommend something like that if you're not already using it. Finally, you could make freezer meals in advance so that you don't have to worry about cooking or ordering something. You can just pull something out of the freezer, have it ready, and be done. This is especially helpful on Christmas morning when the kids, right, they just want to focus on opening presents. You don't want to be stuck in the kitchen trying to cook, or even worse, as has happened to me, we just wait and wait and wait to eat, and my kids get way too hangry and cranky. So don't do that. Tip 23 is to make your travel arrangements early. If you anticipate heading out of town and needing to fly somewhere or rent a car or book a hotel, definitely do that early. And of course, you want to compare prices from the direct vendor's website versus a travel website like Expedia or something like that. Number 24, something that I highly recommend is to have a plan B in place for all of the things you think are going to happen, because you never know if you're going to encounter bad weather or illness or who knows what, right? And so you don't want to be disappointed. You want to make sure that while you have made your arrangements and planned everything out in advance, you also have that backup plan that you can pull out if and as you need it. Category number 5 is what I call the good old other category, right? This catch-all group of things that are small but easy to forget and make a big difference. Tip number 25 is to get batteries long before you're going to need them. Make sure you have a variety of different battery sizes on hand, because there's nothing like a Christmas morning where you have a toy or something that you can't have your kids play with because you're missing the battery that it needs. Tip number 26, very important, voice of experience here. Please make sure that you charge your camera, your phone, whatever it is that you're going to be using ahead of time so that you are able to take pictures or videos of the important events, and especially Christmas morning. There's nothing like thinking you're going to have that special time to remember and treasure forever on video, and then technology fails. And tip 27 is that if you have something that requires assembly, like so many kids' gifts do, you have set aside time to get that assembly done before the last minute. All right, I have no doubt that I am forgetting tons of great ideas for ways that we can simplify the holiday season, but also plan ahead and be ready early. So please shout out in the comments. I need all the helpful advice I can get. I would love to hear your ideas. I hope you found these ones helpful. Let me know what was new or seems like it will be the most useful for you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos on planning, productivity, and purposeful living. Jump straight into these other videos to get more of my top tips, and I will see you back soon. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, have a great day.